Here we go. Page 14. This 2 problems at the bottom. We're going to remind us what we did yesterday, and then we'll jump into the last part for today. This is the 3rd type of question. So while we're doing these 2 questions, if you didn't see yesterday, or you didn't hear yesterday what we were doing, when we do just this part, that's the level 1. And then we'll add on to that for the level 3. And then when we turn the page over, we're going to do the level 2, and then we'll add on to that for the level 4. Okay, so here we go. It says to write an equation. That's what's different. We already talked about that yesterday, write an equation. Okay, so in order to write an equation, your answer needs to look like this. Y minus, and then we're going to fill in this gap with the y number given to you in the point. 8. Okay, this is like point slope form 101. Yep, 8 equals. Now leave this blank, because those of you who were not here yesterday, we don't know what to put there yet for slope. Parentheses, x minus, and then what's the x number of our coordinate? So we're going to end up going minus a -3, which is plus 3.
You rearranged.
Okay, and then we're going to keep going. Okay, so if you were gone yesterday, what we talked about is if I want my line, this is my line, if I want my line to be parallel to this one, they will have the same slope. So I'm going to pull the slope out of this equation, and I'm going to use it for my parallel equation. So -2/3 is going to be the slope parallel to that one. So my first equation is going to steal that same slope, and there it is, done. So this is my parallel equation. That's my parallel equation, and then for my perpendicular equation, it's going to set up the same, except for the slope is going to be different. Okay, what about this +6 that's right here? You don't use it. This is the y-intercept of the original line. Will my line have the same y-intercept? No. Nope, it's going to have its own y-intercept. So this number 6 actually won't get used at all in the problem. So just don't try to put that into your equation, okay? Now, in order to do perpendicular, if my original slope is -2/3, yesterday we learned perpendicular to that, we need to flip the slope upside down and change the sign. It's currently negative, so I'm going to change it to be positive. So when I do my perpendicular equation, I'm going to use 3/2 as my slope. Okay, so for the perpendicular equation, it's going to look like this. Y minus 8, that's not going to change. Positive 3/2 as my slope. And then just copy that x plus 3. That'll be the same. Okay. Okay, so level 1, okay, if you weren't here yesterday, if you didn't check out level 1 is just telling me those 2 slopes and nothing else. That's a 1. Okay. Level 3, or another question, level 2, whatever, a second type of question is telling me the slopes, but then actually writing that equation through as well. Okay, one more time, because this has a whole number slope. So this whole number slope is +4. If +4 is your slope,
it's -4.
Anybody that was here yesterday want to chime in? Is it -4? No, it's 4/1 is your original slope. So then your perpendicular slope, -1/4. Okay, slope is always a fraction, and that fraction, regardless of if it actually writes that over 1 or not, needs to be flipped. So when you flip for the perpendicular part of it, it does need to flip upside down, even if it doesn't look like there's another number underneath. So that's a kind of a little bit tricky one, and that's going to show up again in our level 4. So final answer here, parallel is going to have a slope of 4. Perpendicular is going to have a slope of -1/4. And now we just write our 2 equations on top of that. So that's our level 1, or our first question. Our second question is to go ahead and write the equation. So y plus 5 equals, use my first slope of 4, x, and then this will be another plus because it's a -1. Okay. Then for the second part down here, my second equation still goes through that -1, -5 point, so that part's the same. Switch out your slope for perpendicular, and there's your 2 equations. Okay, we got all the way through that yesterday. Okay, that was 2 of the 3 things we got through yesterday. So what's the other one? Okay, we're going to turn the page to page 15, and we're going to go through the first part that we covered yesterday and the last part for today. So these are the 2 different parts. Okay, so let's start with just finding the slope. So some of you, you're going to get your homework packet back in just a second here. And when you get your homework packet back, it's going to say see page 9. Okay, if it says that on the top, that's because when you wrote the original slope, you said the slope was 2. Is the slope of this line 2? No, you can't see the slope right here, right? You have to solve it for y. And you're going to have to do that a lot in Standard 23, which is coming next. So we better just get good at it now. So let's solve this for y. We're going to go minus 2x on both sides. Okay, so let's write this out. Take your time because the signs are going to matter. So 2y equals -2x, and my 3 is positive. And now I'm just going to divide everything by 2. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. And now I can see my slope. You used to have to go ahead and make it nice and pretty, and in Standard 23, you're going to have to make it nice and pretty, but here you don't, because all I'm looking for is the slope, and the slope is right here. -2/2 is my slope, which is just -1. Ooh, this is kind of tricky. So if my current slope here is -1, how do you flip -1 as a fraction? -1/1 is just +1/1. So this is the only whole number slope that changes from negative to positive when you flip it to be perpendicular, because 1/1 is the same thing as 1/1. Okay? Darn. Here we go. Write the equation. So we still need to write out the 2 equations. This is the 4th question. So let me be clear about this again. Finding this, which we just did, that was our yesterday's level 2. Done. Level 4 is taking what we just did and writing the equation. So y minus 6 equals, put your parallel slope in there. There we go. And then the second part of that would be same thing, y minus 6, +1 as your slope this time, and then x plus 2. Okay. Okay, we're going to do this again because we're going to see some kind of fractions below. But we're going to do these 3 questions, and then you have the rest of the class to kind of make sure that you're ready. Ready for what? Tomorrow's formative assessment on this. So let's keep going here. Let's try again. We're going to solve this for y because that's the new part. And that's the part when you get your homework back, it's going to say see page 9. And that's because we did not solve these correctly. Okay, here we go. Plus 3x plus 3x, 4y, we have a 3x and a 7, divide by 4 on all three parts. So my slope here, I can steal it out. My slope is 3 over 4. So when you write the equation parallel, you're going to use 3 over 4. When you write the equation perpendicular, you're going to use, did you say the word negative in front of there? Okay, I just didn't hear that part. Negative and then 4 over 3. And then we use this point, negative 5, negative 2. Okay, here we go. Y plus 2 equals, put in your slope of 3 over 4 for the first equation. And then it's going to be plus 5, because minus and negative would be plus. Okay, and then do your second equation, y plus 2, this is for perpendicular, negative 4 over 3, and x plus 5. Okay.